But so I just want to get to a story that I heard, and you can. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Now, you, and I remember this. I thought you were Welsh when you first started because you used to do stand up in a Welsh accent. You said, I assume Mark Watson is Welsh enough, isn't it, to be believable?
Yeah. Plus, my parents are Welsh.
So you are okay.
Too difficult to fake the accent. Yeah.
So you used to pretend to be Welsh on stage as a character. What was the character? But it wasn't a character, was it? It was called Mark Watson.
Yeah, it was never a character. It was just me doing. It's a bit like, I mean.
Why did you do that? Because you think being Welsh is funny. And
I was born in Bristol, and I was growing up with a lot of Welsh people and stuff like that, and it was basically just sort of fear of doing stand up in my real voice.
Okay, so it was a little bit of a safety net, a shield.
Yeah, because you know that feeling of when you start out doing it, it's so self-conscious hearing your own voice. I thought if I put on a voice, then. But as you say, it wasn't a character. I was basically just being myself. But
I can see that as well, where you think you're braver because you're thinking, well, this is not me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I would take comfort from thinking if any of these people always say that, like, I can't believe you can get up in front of strangers like that. But I've always liked the fact that they're strangers. So when I was starting out, I used to think, like, worst case, I'll never see any of these people.
I agree.
Yeah.
When I was
friends or family.
they're the worst.
Forget,
I'd banned close friends. Not yet. Yeah, no, I couldn't stand it.
I've tried hard to get my mum to not come. Yeah.
My parents have never seen me.
I'm in a battle of wits with my mum to try and throw her off every time. So it's a bit like that. It was just a way of getting myself feeling like it was sort of slightly disguised, I think. But it wasn't as much, it wasn't like doing a proper character. It was exactly the same thing as me.
But but then when you sort of got a lift with other comedians, didn't you keep the charade up?
Yeah, that was the problem, because people genuinely did believe that I was Welsh. And because it wasn't a huge character again. It was just like, it was a believable voice. But then, so I'd be getting a lift back with someone, and they'd be like, so how long have you lived in Wales all your life? And I'd go, yes, long years now. It's nice to come to London, all this kind of thing. I would feel like it's one of those things where, as everyone knows, the bigger the lie you tell, the more you have to embellish it.
I didn't realise you were doing it off stage as well.
I felt like I had to, because
this is so funny. This is so funny. It's like Mrs. Doubtfire with all the stress that comes with that. But it's like, you've got to remember to be Welsh. It's like
it was a lot like a Mrs. Doubtfire situation.
I suppose you've got so far with it, you can't go.
Well, to be fair,
I'm not Welsh.
The problem was because when I started it, I was only doing 5 minutes in pubs like you do when you start. So I never thought it would be a problem. But then it started to be successful, and I was known as that Welsh guy. So then it was too late to go. But it was a classic Mrs. Doubtfire thing. You don't expect it to work, but once it is working, you're like, shit, I was basically dressed as a woman.
So what
Welsh,
what point did you sort of come out as English?
Well, there were a few problems. Firstly, I got invited to this dinner for young Welsh achievers, and
oh no,
that is a bit of a shame. And it's I wanted to go because at that point I was earning no money, so if I could get dinner out of it, I was like, all right. I got there, and people in America might not know, but as well as having a different accent, the Welsh do have their own language, which nearly all of them speak English as a first language, but then Welsh is also a separate language. So I went to this dinner, and the people were proper
You can't speak Welsh
No,
at all?
I can speak a few words of it, but nearly all of them are song lyrics by the band The Super Furry Animals, and you can't do a whole dinner party like that.
There's a lot of that in it. A lot of that.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of difficult sounds for a person to make, and so it's one thing to like you can and because I had family in Wales, because I knew plenty of Welsh people, I could bluff up to a point, but when there's a shift into a different language, it's time to put your hands up in the air, really.
Yeah.
So there was that, but also I was starting to get invited onto radio shows, stuff like BBC stuff, like Loose Ends, or like radio chat shows where they're not even asking you to do comedy, you're just talking. So then I was like, well, am I going to have a whole conversation in a fake accent?
But when you're doing the fake accent, I don't know. No, so I assume an accent's an accent, and you can do it, right? A Welsh person, another Welsh person in the room wouldn't go, that's a fake accent, would they? They'd assume, if it didn't get round to speaking actual Welsh, there was no danger of you getting caught. This was...
No, because if real Welsh people had seen through it, I would have dropped it faster. But as it was, and it's not like I'm even good at accents. It was just that one I happened to be able to do because of having grown up around it and stuff. So yeah, people never challenged it, and it was getting to the stage where, and I would always describe it as a Welsh comedian. But at the same time, there was a guy called Rod Gilbert who, you'll have come across, who really was Welsh, and the two of us were.
Is he though?
Well, as far as
is he?
I tell you what, if he's doing it as an act, he's done it really bloody well. That's like an entire lifetime. So that was the other problem. I was meeting real Welsh comedians, and I started to feel like I was sort of somehow stealing a living from them by because Rod used to say we would often be on the same bill because when you're starting out, there's a lot of like newcomer competitions and stuff. And he would say, "Oh, it's a nightmare. There's 2 of us Welsh, so whoever goes on first, they'll get all the Welsh jokes." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sort of." Except I'm totally
no.
It's just things like that made me feel really
This
bad.
is like blacking up. This is like
I started to
really...
feel like I was blacking up in a less controversial way.
Yes.
So blacking up was my next idea, actually. But I didn't do that for as long.
Was there anyone who knew that you were putting on an accent?
Well, I would sometimes tell promoters, like people that were running the gigs and stuff, I would tell them confidentially because, or basically anyone asking.
Sidle up to them and go, "I'm not Welsh."
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I'm not Welsh.
It was like, hey, people need to come out eventually. You need to. I had
all these people
sort
have bought tickets.
that was the
Yes.
trouble. Yeah. I had a network of close friends.
Boo!
And family
He's
who
not
knew.
even Welsh.
That was the heckle I dreaded. Yeah. The English prick. Doing it in Wales, I would get quite nervous, obviously. But
no!
In front of all Welsh crowds, I would.
Wow.
But again, it was always all right.
Like being a spy.
It was.
It's incredible.
The only problem with those was people would come up to me afterwards and say, "So, what part of Wales are you from?" Well, I had a cover story. Obviously, I'd invented an area of Bridgend.
What would you say?
Bridgend, because I'd spent quite a bit of time there in my childhood. But then occasionally,
Oh, where'd you go to school? I'd say
it would be stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I had one. I was something or other. At the time, I had a whole fake CV. But then sometimes they'd say, I remember one time saying, a bloke called my bluff, saying, "Do you still go to like O'Neill's or some pub?" And I said, "Yeah, sometimes." And he went, "That's funny, it burned down." And I was like,
Oh my God.
Right, I'm leaving quite fast.
This
after
is
this.
like Marathon Man.
It
When
really
they-
is.
when they ticked in.
It was becoming
You're
more
not
and more
Swiss.
stressful.
What are you, German? It's
yeah.
like, hold on, steady on. Okay, I'm not really Welsh.
It was like that, or that film Argo, where they're all given fake Canadian.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, right, your name is Tony. You grew up in. I was having to learn more and more fake biographical facts to sustain.
Or the
this.
end of The
Yeah.
Great Escape when he says thank you in English.
Yeah,
that's
I was conscious that any slip could be the end of my life. So I started thinking maybe this isn't. And again, I'd never planned it to be a lifelong thing because I didn't. When you're starting stand-up, you've got no idea if it'll even work out. But I was starting to do longer and longer shows, being on TV more.
It's getting like a bigger and bigger deal, isn't it?
It was a far more exhausting effort to keep it going than I ever imagined. And the stupid thing was, it wasn't even that different from my real voice. Like when I went
Did you dream in Welsh?
Almost completely in Welsh, yes.
Did you dream in a Welsh
I
accent?
dreamt in Welsh language with subtitles sometimes. At that point, I knew it was getting too complicated. I started to forget who the real me was. So,
Oh no!
so eventually, but that's the thing. I started to drop the accent, and I think a breakthrough for me was I did shows in Australia where, of course, it'd be the same if I did shows in America, or I did a few in Montreal. No one there cared about the difference between English and Welsh.
Why
anyway.
didn't you pretend that you are Welsh, but you're doing an English character now?
Well, that might be what's happening now, as far as you know. It might be that
Exactly,
we'll
yeah.
never know the real Mark Watson, or it could be that I'm South African or something, and the real me will never come out.
I
Whole
remember
life, you know,
thinking that you were Welsh and then seeing you do stand-up in an English accent. And it was sort of really... It made me feel nervous watching you because it was suddenly... It
You're
was
gonna
like
drop
you were
the
naked,
accent
like
soon.
you were, I don't know, revealing...
I felt
don't know,
very
it felt-
vulnerable.
yeah, you looked
know, like
vulnerable.
yeah,
in
but
your own... It was really weird.
luckily, as Ricky says, I look like quite a nervous person at the best of times.
Yeah.
So I've got quite.
I mean, he
you know,
turned up in an anorak and tried to sneak into the room because he was a minute late.
It's true.
This.
It didn't work. It didn't work for a number of reasons. Firstly, that everyone was facing the door, so it's a very difficult room to enter
Should we
discreetly.
play a record and come back to this? What about Joni Mitchell, The River?
Now she's actually Welsh. Do you know that?
That was The River, Joni Mitchell. We're here with Diane Morgan and Mark Watson, a man who pretended to be Welsh for money.
I suppose when you put it like that, it sounds like quite a dirty life, really.
Yeah.